Hello all, this is Pina Brandy from PB Property. And oh my goodness, it's already almost March. Where did the year go? Isn't that shocking? I thought I'll give you a quick update on what's happening, especially because it feels like there's this trend that keeps happening at the beginning of every single year, where the big banks and everybody decides to predict that the property market will crash. So I thought I'll help you with that by showing you some stats. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this presentation, and please feel free to leave your comments below. All right, so as you could probably see, this is what happened in the last, this is the latest CoreLogic report of what's happening in each capital city for January. And this is what we receive as piece of news by 8th of February, saying that NAB predicts 11% decrease in price by next year. It's at the same time that some people might feel very happy and relieved that happened. Especially imagine all the people that actually purchase property. Do you think they'll be happy to know that their properties are going to be worth less? Anyway, so I want to take you through time, and we had already this type of news and this type of news, but what I wanted to show you is that these news are like basically 2 years apart, and it's always the same type of story. It's always like beginning of the year, mid of the year. It's like close to the financial end of financial year in Australia, or beginning of the year. There always some major prediction of catastrophe in the property market. This continues in 2016. Then we had 60 Minutes with an hour-long documentary explaining people why they should believe the properties will fall by 40%. And then, of course, a couple of months later, we have AMP saying that they're actually going to fall by 20%. And you know, I feel really sad because we keep looking at this news and it just gets worse and worse with time. And if I'm someone that I don't work in property 24/7 like I do. If I'm just an engineer, or I'm a software developer, or I'm just a mom and a dad like trying to get in, where do I get my information? I get it from the news. And unfortunately, the news, this is what the news are doing to us. They're stopping us from taking action. Especially when you look at CBAs telling you, like, it's the bank, you know, the bank is telling you that the properties will fall in price. This is the same bank that during the same period of time gave millions of dollars of loans away to people. It's interesting to see if they predicted that the property prices were going to go down, why would they give you money away for those same properties? Are they into this business to lose money? So that's my question. In a snapshot, I wanted to put it all together in a time frame. And as you can see, this is basically by how much the media was wrong and what actually happened in the market and what actually the media reported. And I feel really sad to see this slide, because if I look at the news and what right after this, so basically this is CBA telling you that in 2020 we already had COVID, it already started, everything was all over the world, we were all confused what was going to happen, and we look at CBA saying piece of news like that, and then we actually go and look for correct data. They predicted 32%, and we had a fall in that quarter of not even 1%. So it's a very different number from 1% to 32%. And it continues forever. Then we have again, CBA continuing the story with this year that the price, like at the end of last year, the prices will fall. Now, that's what actually happened to the prices, not what CBA said. The national prices went up, as you saw in the beginning. This is by how much they went up. And another important statistic that not many people are talking about is that the gap between housing units is the biggest has ever been in years. Now, why is this important? Because there is this belief in people that the unit prices don't go up. And this is actually, I received this newsletter yesterday from CoreLogic. And basically CoreLogic is the one as well talking about this. Now, having said that, they actually said that the unit prices in Sydney went up by 15.4% in the last 12 months up to January. Now, I understand that the difference with unit and houses is that you can't just buy any unit. It can't just be a random unit anywhere and it will go up. At the moment, yes, we had a very unusual situation in the market where most houses in most locations, not all, went up in price, but the same does not apply to units. And buyers are becoming more and more sophisticated. So they realize that if they can't afford a house, they're going to buy the best unit that there is out there from a reputable builder. It has to have amenities in case they get stuck at home again for some sort of lockdown. So it has to cater in at very different levels. So you can't just go and buy whatever unit because eventually unit prices will go up. You need to know what you're buying. But what I'm saying is that we are going to have the borders reopen. We're going to have a lot of people from Europe and countries that are used to live in units. That's their normal life. They want to be where the buzz is. They want to be where the city is happening. And guess what? They're going to fill up the cities again. They're going to come and live in units because that's what they know. Eventually, after they move in here, they get to know, they'll move away because they understand that Australia doesn't operate like Europe. But in the first years, that's where they're going to go, and they're going to have, and they have money. That's where they're going to stay. So this is why this is an important stat that I want to bring out to you. Now, I want to bring it back to the normal person. Now, imagine you're a normal person and you saw CBA telling you that if you waited a little bit, you can actually buy your dream home 32% cheaper. Isn't that amazing? Well, great. So now imagine in May 2020, you had a deposit of 250,000 and you wanted to buy a 1 million home. And of course, don't forget you have to pay stamp duty. So I'm putting that there because people tend to forget that that's an additional cost. And you being a home buyer or first home buyer, when you're buying a $1 million home, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to pay stamp duty. Now, if you wait, that's what the guy was thinking, like, I'm going to wait because I can buy that same house 32% cheaper. Isn't that amazing? Well, guess what happened? The market didn't go down. It went the other way. So now the same person that was looking at the $1 million home, it's costing them basically almost the additional amount of their deposit that they had. And who keeps these banks and these news accountable for lost opportunity? This is what I'm talking about. It's so sad because no one is accountable. And they just put the news out there because news sell. And that's what people want to do. People love drama. People love disaster. And guess what? That's where they're going to get. Like the more they read this news and they believe it, but who is making the money? The news. And who is losing and missing out on opportunity? You, because you listen to the news and don't look at the data. Well, that's the data. This is basically 10 years of Australian data of property market. And you have to look at the trend. It's impossible to time when this will happen. but you know that the overall trend is up. Then people love to say, oh, but you know, interest rates. Well, this is what's happened in the interest rates in the last 50 years. This trend, it's actually going the opposite way of the property trend. I don't think we'll ever see interest rates this high in our lifetime. Yes, they might go up by 1-2%, but really? And then we have this is the most important data. Our population is growing, and more people are coming to Australia, and more people want to live here because this is an amazing country. Now, where are these people going to live? It takes a lot of time to build houses, to build accommodation. And unfortunately, there is not enough land. I wish there was, but there isn't enough land for everybody to have a home. And a lot of people might not even want to live in a house. So there's going to be a lot of buildings and a lot of construction happening in the future, and it might have to be high density and not low density, as we all love. Australia is growing. Now, supply and demand. All the governments actually look years ahead of what's actually happening, and they try to prepare. So they are already preparing for 2061, when they know that the population is going to be much bigger. It's going to grow by 3.3 millions, and it's going to be much older. That means that this is a very important stat for you as an investor. You want to make sure that you're going to be looked after. And if you have not a plan in place on how to look after yourself, well, what this report says, it's very sad, because it's just going to get worse. If you don't self-finance your retirement, the future is not looking great for you. Plus, borders are reopening and people are coming to Australia. So that means there's much more demand than supply in the next couple of years, not more than a couple of years. So basically the national population, it's supposed to grow to almost 30 million people. And where are these people going to live? There was this beautiful ABC documentary that I highly encourage you to go and search on YouTube and watch it. And they say for every 3 migrants, we require 1 extra home. How are we possibly going to be able to deliver this amount of housing for all these people coming in? Now, this is another report that I love to look at, is the domain or real estate. Why? Because these are live data. This is what actually happening in the market, sell, rents, everything. So these are the rents. Rents are going up. And then what's happened now that we're going to have supply and demand issues, the rents will go even higher because we don't have enough housing for people. Again, if you're an investor looking to some sort of cash flow, this is what you should be looking at. If you have some extra money in your business that you're looking to generate cash flow in the next 10 years, have a look in investing in some sort of asset that will generate you some sort of return and rent. Why? This is a very important thing. Inflation happens, everything happens, but if you're on a pension doesn't go up with inflation, but rent does. So even if your property doesn't go up in price, the rent that property is bringing you will. So what's ahead? Demand for rent homes can be expected to continue to increase. Again, return on high levels of migrations. And again, migrants don't know the suburbs. They'll come here, they want to be in the CBD, they want to be where everything is, and then eventually they'll find out where their dream home will be. This is Pina Brandy with your update. I hope this was useful to you. And if you have any questions, just leave them below. Thank you.